Hello, today I'm going to be giving my review on Ahsoka, Season 1. And I really enjoyed watching Ahsoka. I have always loved her character since I watched Clone Wars and then Rebels and then the time she was in Mandalorian. So it was really cool to see Ahsoka in live action and for multiple episodes versus just like one or two. Speaking of the live action element, it was really cool to see other characters and elements from previous animated shows come into live action, such as Thrawn and Sabine and Hera and Chopper, Ezra, Night Sisters, Mortis Gods, The World Beyond Worlds, and more. It was a big callback for people who had watched these animated shows, the Clone Wars and Rebels specifically. I'm not sure how, if you haven't seen those shows, it would be exactly. You might be missing some of the things, such as Mortis Gods, for example. That kind of almost went over my head as well. It was just cool to connect the dots back to the Clone Wars arc of the Mortis Gods. The last episode was actually, I thought, the best episode of the series. It was the most intense, and just made me feel excited during the whole episode to see what was going to happen. There was really cool action sequences, good lightsaber fight. There was a lightsaber fight that involved a Night Sister, which was really cool to see. It was just cool seeing the Night Sisters in live action Star Wars as well, because it brings a little different element that we haven't really seen in live action Star Wars. We've seen it in the Clone Wars, and I don't know if it was in Rebels at all. Another thing I thought was really good about the series was having the best non-Vader villain come into live action with Thrawn. He's such a good character. Thrawn is just so cunning, and he's logical about his maneuvers and how he's going to pursue different battles. And speaking of battles, like, he's okay losing battles in order to win the war as well, which makes he's just a super interesting character in that respect. And he'll let characters that are the good guys go in order to come to a hopefully better long-term outcome for himself and the Empire. Seeing Thrawn in live action is awesome, and hopefully we get more of Thrawn, a lot more of Thrawn, because he brings a whole new element to Star Wars. We also get to see the return of Anakin Skywalker, which was awesome. Since obviously Ahsoka wasn't in the prequel trilogy, seeing some of that interaction with Anakin from that time in live action, which a lot of people may have not seen due to not seeing Clone Wars, was just a pretty cool element to see Ahsoka's growth from that to where she is now. The series itself was really exciting. There was a lot of tense parts, and the story flowed pretty well, but it was not super heart-pounding, and it could have been more tense throughout. It didn't seem to draw out a ton of emotion all the time, which is probably one of the downsides of Ahsoka, and some of the parts kind of were a little boring. Overall, I would give Season 1 of Ahsoka a 4 out of 5 stars, just due to all of those exciting elements, and it was a fun and entertaining story with a lot of lightsaber battles and good action sequences. It didn't have as much emotion as I would have liked, or bring out as much emotion. It's something that maybe will come hopefully in Season 2. I would really recommend watching Ahsoka if you're a Star Wars fan, especially if you've seen the Clone Wars and or Rebels, because there's just a lot of characters and elements that come from that, and it feels kind of nostalgic too at some points, seeing those elements from those previous shows come into play, because a lot of it is sometimes from over a decade ago, so that's just really, really cool and feels pretty nostalgic. But if you're just a casual Star Wars fan, it's probably being a pretty decent show. There's a lot of lightsaber battles and action sequences that will probably be fun to just watch. And the story itself is pretty entertaining, so I would recommend trying it out. And like I said, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars.